It's the year of our Lord, oh Lord, 2023. It's been 7 years since the last proper Dark Souls title. Even longer if you count its predecessor, Demon Souls. Dark Souls would go on to create its own genre, dubbed Soulslike. Over the past decade, some of my favorites in this new genre have been the Remnant series, or Chronos for you OGs, Strangers of Paradise Final Fantasy Origin, and Big Titty Simulate. I mean Code Vein. That one. Anime Dark Souls. The Souls legacy has now evolved into the open world successor Elden Ring. From Software is now so popular that any game they release is met with instant and critical success. Oh, and don't get me wrong, this isn't a knock towards them. Far from that. They have become one of an extremely few number of developers who release complete games. Developers who actually respect customers and their wallets. From Software deserves all the love and success. With the move to an open world, Elden Ring simultaneously gained and lost an identity. While it is essentially Dark Souls at its core, the vastness and grander scale of its world is what makes it Elden Ring, and sets it apart from its predecessor. So where does this leave fans who yearn for the original Soul series? Those of us who loved the interconnectivity of each locale, the tighter, more focused progression. Well, CI Games may as well have given us a true sequel to Dark Souls 3, Lords of the Fallen. After eons of tyranny, the demon god Adir was vanquished by hillbillies. Or some shit. In order to prevent the return of Adir after his banishment to the Shadow Realm, the hillbillies formed the Catholic Church. But no matter how many kiddies the Catholic Church fiddled, Adir still came back. Or some shit. The church needed a champion. One who could extinguish Adir once and for all. Hollywood superstar Patrick Wilson. Blah blah blah, Hollywood superstar Patrick Wilson fight, Hollywood superstar Patrick Wilson drops his flashlight, Hollywood superstar Patrick Wilson die. And now, you must take up the mantle of Hollywood superstar Patrick Wilson and extinguish the dark flames of Adir once and for all. Or some shit. Alright, look, I'm not going to pretend to understand the story going forward for 1 second. I'm sure it's cool, I'm sure it's neat, but what I'm really here for is to scratch that Dark Souls itch. Lords of the Fallen is a dark fantasy Souls-like, and I am all for it, baby! One of the coolest features is the implementation of a mirror world called the Umbral. Think of it like the Dark World in A Link to the Past and A Link Between Worlds. The Umbral is essentially always overlaid in the regular world. Using your flashlight, you're able to reveal this dark, grotesque world. Lords of the Fallen also implements the double life system from Sekiro and ties it to the Umbral. The game gives you 2 lives, and alongside the power of your flashlight, you can sacrifice your first life at any moment to traverse the Umbral. Right away, you'll find it necessary to be fully within the Umbral to reveal hidden paths in order to get past roadblocks within the regular world. You can only stay within the Umbral for a few minutes, indicated by an eyeball and meter on the right, before a Grim Reaper comes to kill you. Fortunately, there are many points scattered throughout the world that can pull you out of the Umbral and essentially give you your first life back. This makes the world itself a puzzle, a tool, and a strategic element for you to utilize on your journey. The atmosphere in the Umbral reminds me a lot of the temporal junction point in Berserk during the events of an eclipse, except instead of the color theme being red and black and blood, it's blue and gray and a little ghosty. The boss designers knocked the ball out of the motherfucking stratosphere with this one. When my buddy was first showing me this game, the first boss I ever saw was this big old Kappa looking lug. And let me tell you, I was fucking sold. To give some context, I had zero interest in this game. I knew it was recently released. I know of its panned history with the first title, but to be honest, your brother is broke as shit and can't even afford his bills. My buddy randomly bought this game for me after I showed interest in it when he was streaming it to me in Discord. It came out of nowhere and it was an extremely kind gesture. I tell the whole story about it in my weekly podcast. If you want to hear about it, feel free to check out the video on my Clips channel or check out the episode in full. So, thanks to him and my other best buddy for sticking with me through some of the most difficult times in my life. Back to the bosses. Let me tell you, stratosphere, mesosphere, thermosphere, exosphere, fucking outer space. They're all so well designed. And the greatest of all, CI Games graced unto me a woman so beautiful, so religiously autistic, that it wraps around to being cute as shit. They have given me a woman I can devote myself heart, mind, and body. Peta.
O holy Aureus, by your radiance grant me the strength to continue to endure these dark days, to lay bare the path to salvation for my wayward brothers and sisters, so we may walk it together, and to strike down all those who would see our will defied. Even as our suffering continued, I honored my pledge of patience to the exactor. And yet you now appear before me, a stranger, bearing what was not yours to receive. A betrayal made flesh, and one I cannot brook.
Lovely Peta. Whoa! Hey, sweetheart, calm down. I was hoping we could go out for dinner, maybe see a movie. Oh, okay, you got lasers. That's pretty fucking cool. How about a walk on the beach? Whoa! No? Alright. If I win this fight, then we go on a date. Deal? Parry. Riposte! God damn, I love this game. Hey, you know we don't have to... Oh my god. I always knew you were an angel. Jokes aside, Peta's fight is a visual marvel. There are so many particle effects from her holy magic on screen, let alone all the swords she can conjure up. Just look at how she flies and how smooth the wing animations are. It really feels like she's dancing and she commits to her attacks. If I'm being honest, this kind of feels a little better than From Software boss fights, in that the enemies and bosses in the Soul series, especially in the later entries, heavily react to your input, which can feel extremely cheap. That being said, Lords of the Fallen is a bit easier when compared to modern Souls games, which may lessen that intense feeling you get after beating an extremely difficult boss. Reborn anew? Peta, my love, we can finally go on that... What? Where you going? Okay. Yeah. I'll call you sometime? You call me? No? I'll catch you later, maybe? There you are. My lovely Peta, you have inspired me to go down a path of righteousness. From this day forth, I shall denounce my commoner ways. No longer will I spout expletive. Is that her fucking sword? Oh, shit. That's fucking cool. Wait. You're telling me I can apply holy to my already holy swords? Oh, fuck. That's so cool. Look at the trails my swings leave. It's time to go out and smite my foes to ashes. Holy crap! Did I just call down lightning? This game has all three themes of holiness. They have the purity of light holy, the thorny Jesus Christ holy, and the Dark Souls lightning holy. The only way this could possibly get any better is if I could somehow wield a second Peta sword. Woo! Oh, baby, yes! 10 out of 10, 10 out of 10, 10 out of 10! Combat in this game almost feels stylish, as if you have a sort of flair and flow as you move, swing, conjure, and cast spells. It's flashy, baby, and I love it. This game decides to take a few pointers out of Alan Wake by allowing you to use your umbral flashlight to pull the souls out of enemies, allowing you to cause wither damage. Once the soul returns, a single strike makes the white section of their health bar disappear. Enemies can also get support from eyeballs seen only in the umbral that can either constantly heal them or make them entirely invulnerable. Lords of the Fallen hits exactly what I wanted in a true Souls-like game. Difficult, but not exactly frustrating. Interconnectivity of a tight but well-designed world. A story that can simultaneously be ignored or enjoyed, with lore scattered throughout the game for intrepid players. Fluid combat that doesn't overcomplicate things, and possibly most importantly, a wide gamut of armor that mix and matches extremely well. The fashion souls in this game is chef's kiss. Mwah. Nice. It's weird to describe a grotesque, dark fantasy horror themed game as beautiful, but that's exactly what this is. Locales, beautiful. Combat and weapons, beautiful. The magic, infernal, umbral, and holy, beautiful. My wife Peta, beautiful. I genuinely mean this when I say this. Lords of the Fallen can hold its own against any classic Dark Souls title. And yet, I can't get myself to say that it's better than any Dark Souls title. Why? Why is that? Is it nostalgia? Is it because From Software did it first? I mean, Lords of the Fallen is at least closest to Dark Souls 3 in terms of combat and movement, and yet I prefer Dark Souls 3. Is it because it was the grand culmination of a franchise I'm wholly invested in? I love Dark Souls 2 despite how much people like to rag on it, yet I prefer Dark Souls 2 to Lords of the Fallen as well. But in this case, Lords of the Fallen might objectively be a better game overall. I acknowledge that, I see that, but I can't personally admit it. Is it the Knights and Dragons feel of Dark Souls 2 that I love more? And finally, Dark Souls 1. The most rigid game in the trilogy, and often criticized for the second half of the game. It doesn't have the fluidity of Dark Souls 3, or the sheer number of bosses and expanded spell variety as Dark Souls 2, but it's my all-time favorite Souls game. If Lords of the Fallen is objectively a better game than Dark Souls 2, then by proxy it's better than Dark Souls 1, right? Well, not to me. There's something special about Dark Souls 1 that no other Souls game could reach, and maybe one day I'll explore that further. But for now, I'm left wondering, why can't I admit that Lords of the Fallen might be better than Dark Souls? Oh, wait, never mind. All right, no, scratch that. I know why. Peta!